Sue Davis, your attention please. Your attention please. Sue Davis.
A man walks into a bar. Madam Toastmaster, my fellow Toastmasters and friends. A man walks into a bar and he's greeted warmly. He's not an attractive man. In fact, he's large, sweaty, and rumpled. He's not a particularly witty man. He doesn't have a lot to say. He's not rich, he's not powerful, yet he walks into a bar and he's greeted warmly. Because the year is 1983, the city is Boston, and the bar is a place where everybody knows your name, cheers, and the man walks in, everyone yells, Norm! They greet him warmly just because they value him for who he is. And doesn't that feel good? Deep down, we all know that we're pretty cool, and we want people to recognize us, not for what we do, not for our accomplishments or our riches, but just for who we are. And I think that's why those of us who have dogs love them so much. You could give a dog $1 million, he doesn't care. Your dog values you for who you are. You go to the grocery store, you come home after half an hour, and your dog acts like he thought you'd been lost at sea with Captain Phillips and the Somali pirates. So happy to see you. Isn't it great? It's such a good feeling. The Gottman Institute, that studies human relationships, looked at marriages, and they found one behavior that was so important that they could predict with 94% accuracy who would be happily married in 6 years and who would be divorced or on the way to divorce. Do you want to know what it is? I'm going to use an example because it's not the most obvious thing in the world. A man and his wife are having breakfast, sitting at the table, and the man does what the researchers call make a bid for attention. He'll say something to his wife like, "Look at that bird." And his wife has a choice to make. She can either ignore him, keep reading her phone or her newspaper, eating her breakfast, or she can respond, either positively or negatively. Negatively, what are you bothering me for? Or positively, it doesn't have to be Shakespeare, just some little thing to let him know she heard. Oh, look at that. That's all it takes. That's the difference between a happy relationship and an unhappy relationship, is that the majority of the time in a happy relationship, the partner responds. We just want to know that somebody is there for us, with us, going through life, sharing the same experiences. It shows what we value. I value you for spending this time with me, for going along through life with me. My parents were married for 65 years. And they didn't have the most flowery romance. They were very reserved people. They weren't given to grand pronouncements or public displays of affection. But one thing I noticed that they always did is when one of them would come home, the other one would put down what they were doing, and they would get up and go to welcome the other person home. Every time. It was just a way of saying, I value you. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you've come home. You're the most important thing to me right now. When my father couldn't drive anymore, my mother had a little heart issue and had to go into the hospital. It gave us a scare. And when I brought her home, and she came through the door, and my father came to greet her, the look on their faces, the way they regarded each other, the way they drank each other in, it told me more about love than 1,000 flowery sonnets or words. It told me everything I needed to know. So ladies and gentlemen, my point is this. In this world, we talk about value a lot as money. And the values of the world are money, and if we want to get rich, we make wise investments. But the currency of relationships our time and attention. So if we want rich relationships, we want to place our values, we want to place our time and attention where those investments will grow and we'll all become rich.